Now, ripping fairway woods off the turf. This is one of the most common faults that so many golfers find. So, if you are struggling, do not worry. This is the right video for you. And the first place to start is with the club face and the club sole and how these interact with the ball at impact, because with a fairway wood, it is different than a driver and an iron. Now, as you can see, a fairway wood is pretty shallow. That means the depth from top to bottom is quite small, especially when you compare it to, say, a driver or, of course, an iron. So we need to make sure we're showing as much of this face to the golf ball as possible. Now, what this means is as you're coming into impact, you cannot afford, for example, to have the handle leaning back. Now, this is a common issue that you'll find when you try and help the golf ball up in the air. You can see that as the handle leans back, you're exposing more of that leading edge to the golf club. This is going to lead to your thin and top shots. One of the advantages of a fairway wood is you've got this big, wide, smooth sole. Now, this is the type of club that can really skim across the surface. Even if you hit the ball and then the turf, which is going to be key as we speak about, it will be gliding out. Now, look what happens when I get the shaft level with the golf ball or even lean it slightly forward. There is more of that club face being shown at impact. Now, I know it might seem quite scary, but there is quite a lot of loft for you to use, even on something like this, a 3-wood. I know it might not seem like it at times, but just try and trust the loft to get it in the air. Guys, if you are new to the Swing Quest channel or you have watched the videos but have yet to subscribe, please do so now. It would be fantastic to grow this channel as we push it towards 100,000 subscribers. The first part of a successful fairway wood shot is making sure that your setup is adequate for the club being used. Now, throughout this explanation, we're going to be talking about something called the swing center. Really simply put, if you imagine a circle around the body, this is your imaginary path that the club is going to take. It definitely isn't this shape, but stay with me. At the center of this swing is pretty much the sternum. It's actually just slightly left of the sternum. It's kind of here on the breastbone. However, if you think of your center of chest as your swing center, we're going to get along just fine. Now, with a setup for a fairway wood, because of the length of the club, it's going to be more towards the front of the stance. So if I'm going to take a little step with my left foot, a bigger step with my right, you can see that the ball position here is pretty much on the inside of the left heel. Now, if I complete my setup, strong posture, everything else, you can see that my swing center here is actually behind the ball. So if this circle bottoms out at this point, I'm going to hit the ground first before I hit the ball, or I'm going to miss the low point and hit a thin. So this is why, as we move through impact, we want to actually transfer the weight onto the front foot, and we want our chest approaching pretty much level with the ball at impact. That way you're going to be hitting the ball near the bottom of the swing arc. You'll often see with really good players of fairway woods that they'll often hit the ball and then bruise the ground afterwards. And that is absolutely fine. What that's showing is that the ball is being hit, the angle of attack is still relatively shallow, but it's bottoming out after impact. So this is the slightly tricky combination that we need to get right. We want to be moving into the ball with the club traveling on a little bit more of a shallower angle of attack, but also not hanging back and hitting up. Now, the reason for that is if you've got a low lofted club like a fairway wood, if you come in very steep, so the club moving in this direction, it's going to be hard to get the ball up in the air. Yes, you want to be striking slightly down or bringing the club through quite level through impact. But if you move into this kind of position, you're not going to be able to get the ball up in the air. So to have an effective strike with the fairway wood, we have that set up. We know we want to be moving the weight forward. We don't want to be getting that chest over the ball at impact, but we need to get the feeling that the club is moving down a little bit from the inside and shallow, sweeping through that impact area as that chest gets over the ball, and then moving around to this full finish. We do not want to be hanging back. So a nice way to get this feeling is take your fairway wood set up, just take the club halfway back. Feel like the club is moving from the inside into impact. And as you approach that ball, let's just try and make sure that chest is approaching the ball, over the ball at impact. So we're moving on the inside here, shallow, into impact, and then turning through. The difficult thing here is really focusing and not kind of leaning back, not flinching away from the point of impact. Understanding that you can extend that club down and through, and if it bruises the ground, that's absolutely fine. So guys, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you wallop that like button and also become a subscriber to the channel if you haven't already. And continue your swing quest by checking out these videos here.